Alright, how we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and welcome to the first episode of a series that could be very, very fun. This is going to be my Guild Wars 2 Ultimate Survival Guide. I've done a series like this before on my main channel, and I did it for Path of Exile, and I took the series all the way up to a point that I figured it was really good to stop at, because then you could take on the rest of the game yourself. Now, Guild Wars 2 is a little bit fundamentally different, in that it's a very open-ended game. So there might technically not be an end to this series, or I could just sort of cover as many concepts as possible and try and teach as many things as possible, and then just call it a day when I run out of things to tell you. So what I'm going to do with this series is try and give you as much information as I humanly can about the game that I have, or the game franchise that I have over 7,000 hours in, across Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. I can do something like this for Guild Wars 1 eventually, but I'm not as well versed in it, even though I would absolutely love to be, and I would totally go and do a full Guild Wars 1 playthrough for you guys if you want me to, but that's a whole different endeavor. So, I figured I had a perfect chance to go about doing this, because my little Norn Guardian right here, I went through and I redid my account to rebuild everything for the upcoming expansion, and I ran out of Tomes of Knowledge, so I have to manually level a character. So I want to start from the absolute start and try and give you all of the information that I can for both free-to-play, casual, and in-between players. There's going to probably be a lot of veterans in the comments saying, do this, it's better, do this, it's better. Yeah, and you're probably right within your levels of game knowledge. But I'm going to make this series in a way that I wish I had when I first started Guild Wars 2 all those years ago. When I started Guild Wars 2, I started streaming it casually, and I had someone pop into the stream named Cookie Creature, who walked me through everything, and basically taught me, top to bottom, how to play Guild Wars 2. So, if you're out there, my guy, I appreciate you, you're the best. Maybe this video finds you some way, somehow. And I haven't seen you online in ages, so, you know, that's how things go with Guild Wars 2. But still, I want to pass down the knowledge to the next generation of Guild Wars 2 players. So, I have a little level 57 Norn Guardian here, and I'll be using her as our showcase. Now, I do have access to my entire account, as you can see here. I'm not so dedicated that I'm going to make a fresh account and start from absolute zero. I'm not going through all that level of process. So there is going to be some things I have access to that you won't, but I will try to give you alternate use cases for the items and tools that I'm going to use, and try to explain how I got to that point in the first place. So we've got our autism bait down in the corner with Raid Shadow Legends vibing with us, because I'm going to be grinding away as things go on. And let's get to it, shall we? So, first thing you're going to want to do is go about hitting level 80 with whatever character you make. So you're going to pick your class, and then the first thing I would suggest you do is literally use your second character slot to make multiple renditions of that character, and then delete them. Reason being is when you go through and pick your first characters, you get access to a couple of different things. You'll see the Guardian, for example, has the Fanatic's Mantle. This is a shoulder piece that is unique to character creation. Yes, I'm not joking. Then the Conqueror's Mantle, and then they have a helmet as well. The helmet looks kind of stupid. But if there's other options in character creation that you wanted, I would go through while you still have the spare character slot, make the characters, load in with them, and then you can delete them afterwards, and you'll keep the wardrobe unlock in the wardrobe. So that is where I would go about starting before we even get into anything else. Then from there, we are going to start our adventure in Divinity's Reach right here. Now, I don't entirely remember every single free-to-play restriction. I'm pretty sure you can't use the mail, and I'm pretty sure you also can't use the trading post. So, some of these tips will only be effective for very basic starting casual players, so there will be some that you can't use, unfortunately. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our wallet, slam the bitch on the table, and we're going to immediately buy the Ultimate Edition. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. If you do want to spend, I would suggest going about getting the Ultimate Edition, because it will give you access to a lot of things. I'll start this off with the obvious showcase and reasons behind it, which is, if we go into the options here and we click Visions of Eternity, the Ultimate Edition will give you, first of all, a max level boost, which will allow you to skip the process I'm about to do, an additional character slot, a mount skin, infinite gathering tools, a recustomization kit, and 4,000 gems. Now, the reason I bring this up to immediately start is because Guild Wars 2 is a create the problem, sell the solution game, and that will turn a lot of people off immediately. That being said, I'm going to tell you all of the options and ways to reroute through all of the problems they create, and I'll try and solve them with actual actionable solutions for you. So, first things first is that after you make your character, a lot of character creation options will actually be locked behind a preview window here. So this is the Total Makeover kit. There's exclusive hairstyles behind this. So if you made a character that you don't particularly like, you can recustomize it using that identity repair kit that I just showed you. However, that's just small customization stuff. The thing I would suggest doing, if you are a casual player who has access to the game overall, is coming to the trading post right here and buying yourself a couple of things to begin with. Now, if you have a couple of gold, this would be the best place to use it. If you don't have any gold, don't worry, because I'm going to give you some free-to-play tips on how to level as well. So, first things I would suggest getting is going to weapons, and then choosing whatever weapon set your character uses. If you don't know what they use, then press H, go into the build tab, and go to weapon skills right here. This will show you every weapon that your class can utilize. So go through and find one that sounds interesting to you, some of which you won't be able to use until later in the game. Like pistol, for example, Guardian can't wield unless you get Weapon Master training, which is a much, much later unlock. So certain weapons you won't have access to, but it will literally tell you if you don't have access to it. If I go and find a pistol, okay, fine, I guess. Never mind. If I go and find one through this, it will literally say, requires achievement unlock. So go through, find a weapon you like. In this case, I'll say Greatsword because I'm going to play Guardian. Find a Greatsword, and then search by either level by clicking this button, or search by level with the level range here, or click Match My Level. Now, I would buy a couple of these with every 10 levels being a new weapon. And then, after that, I would go through and I would pick up a Bloodlust sigil. Superior Sigil of Bloodlust. This will give you more power every time you kill something, stacking up to 25. Now, like I said, if I'm getting ahead of myself and you're just like, bro, what the fuck, go kill things, give me a second. I'm just explaining some very, very basic concepts here. So this is how you prep for a very good start to get yourself ahead and leveling exceptionally quickly. So in this case, I would buy as many of these as you bought weapons, and then slot them in each weapon. So then when you level up, you just equip the new weapon, and you're good to go. Alternatively, if you're a casual player who has access to all of the expansions, you can buy something like a Bloodbound Greatsword, which will level with you. This is basically a heirloom from World of Warcraft, and it doesn't have a slot for any of the extra stuff, but you can put the Bloodlust sigil in an offhand and then go stack it that way. So you only particularly need one weapon. You'll see in this case my gear is absolute garbage because we're going to be going through low-level zones. Alternative things to get is just the cheapest food you can buy. So in this case, bowls of simple salad. We'll buy 5 of those. And then we'll buy 5 sharpening stones. Now, reason being is that these will give you experience from kills. Now, if you're not able to use the trading post, when you clear the renown hearts that we will come across, some of the vendors will literally sell food. So if they sell food or sharpening stones, buy as much as you can and pop them on a 30-minute cooldown to get 10% experience from kills. Now, if you are just starting out and you are, as I said, I don't know if free-to-play players have access to the Wizard's Vault. They might not. I'm not too sure. But if you're just starting out, you can go through and you can do the Wizard's Vault daily completion, which will give you an Essence of Luck, Gold, and Astral Acclaim. And if you do the weekly over here, you'll also get Laurels. Now, Laurels are a currency that you can spend at... They moved the vendor. Oh, that's unfortunate. Is it not here? Well, that's unfortunate. I'll cover that in a second, then. They're a currency that you can spend to gain access to a bunch of differing things. So I covered the food, I covered the, I covered the weapons. I'm going to buy something for myself, and then I'll explain in a second why. So I'm going to buy 250 candy corn, and yes, this looks psychopathic, I know. But there is a reason behind it. and then I'm going to fast travel to a place that will probably confuse a lot of people. But don't worry, I'll bring us back to a point that makes sense in just a second here. I'm trying to find a vendor that doesn't exist in Divinity's Reach to try and set up the casual players as best I can. So if we come over here, this is one of the rewards from buying one of the Ultimate Editions. I bought the Path of Fire Ultimate Edition, and it gave me a teleport location that gives me access to everything. Crafting locations, bank and guild access, Mystic Forge access, crafting access, all those sorts of things. So in this case, come over here, and this vendor from the Laurel NPC will sell experience boosters. Now, for 1 Laurel, you can get a experience booster for 30 minutes. And like I said, if you are a casual player, you do your weeklies here, you will get 10 Laurels for free. This means that you'll get 10 of the Laurels, which you can then use on other characters. Now, some of these you might not be able to do, because they might be higher tier stuff. Some of them you might be able to do. It will depend. Now, in this Wizard's Vault, you can press this button up here, and it'll allow you to choose between PvE, PvP, and World vs. World. So if you can't do the PvE ones because you don't have a high enough level character, you can do the PvP or World vs. World ones. I would do World vs. World, because PvP you will get smoked by people who actually know what they're doing. PvP in this game is a lot of fun, but very, very unforgiving and has no tutorial. I might literally make a how to PvP from scratch tutorial, because the developers literally won't do it, so maybe I'll do it myself. We'll see. If you guys want something like that, let me know in the comments, and we will operate from there. So, the reason I showcased that is because I'm now going to use one of my gem store items, which, like I said, if you buy the Ultimate Edition, you'll gain 4,000 gems, to which I would suggest you keep them until a sale comes around, normally at Halloween or Christmas or those sorts of things, and then use them on account-based upgrades. So you can get bag slots. You can get the copper-fed salvage-o-matic right here, which is a salvage kit that is infinite and requires 3 copper to use, or you can have the candy corn gobbler here. This will make it so you can utilize the candy corn that I just purchased, eat 83 of them at a time, and gain that experience booster that I just showed you for 3.5 hours, or 3 and some change hours. So now, I have an experience booster that will give me 50% XP for 3 hours. And then on top of that, I also have a celebration booster. This is from a birthday. This is from having a character over a year old. Now, new players aren't going to have access to this, unfortunately, but you can get some of these through other methods. And then on top of that, if you join a guild, which you can come up here, then you'll have access to the guilds window. Free-to-play players, I don't know if they can join guilds particularly, but if you join basically any guild, then they will have a NPC in their guild hall that will allow you to get a 10% increased experience bonus. So if I go here, and I represent my guild, like I said, if you're looking for a guild, you'll find one in trade chat, literally in Divinity's Reach, while you're in here buying stuff. So if we go to Wham's Guild Hall, I shall show you. This will vary based on every single guild. Each one will have their own guild hall, built a specific way, but I'll show you the guy to look for. The NPC you want is called the Guild Enhancements NPC. So our man in this case... Oh shit, I think I repped the wrong one. Haha, whoops. I'm going to use my Raptor here as well, since that's going to be the beginning mount everyone has access to. If we come up here, this is where this guild put theirs. Other people will put it in different places. Our man right here will give you bonuses for multiple things in the game. Generally, you'll run Magic Find after you level cap, unless you're doing PvP, to which you'll put the PvP one on. Or if you're doing World vs. World, put on the XP gain or Reward Track gain. Go for Reward Track 99% of the time, you get much more value. But in this case, experience gain, because we're going to push for level 80. So, we're going to get out of here. Oh shit, I pressed the wrong button. And now I'm going to go and show you the ways to actually level. Alternatively, also, buy bags if you're a casual player who has access to it. If you're not, now the game will actually start. All of the preamble is done. Aside from, I'll go through one last thing, and then we'll go killing shit, shall we? Options menu. So, primary things to note. The content guide up in the top hand corner you're going to want to disable personal story unless you're going for your personal story. Because otherwise, it's just going to perpetually point you towards your personal story over and over in the corner, and it's not going to do anything for you. So you want to disable personal story, and then it will point you around the map that are for events that are running, so that you can get as much experience as easily as possible. You can also hide events in personal story if you want to for whatever reason, because then that'll allow you to just do map completion and speed through the game even quicker. I would suggest with show time of day in the corner, although that's related to fishing way down the line. In-game clock if you want. These are the settings that I'm working with. This option for simple condition floaters, I would actually leave off most of the time. It just looks really funny and basically gives me the feeling of playing Affliction Warlock. Let me go through and just sort of figure out some of these that I would suggest. AoE loot on interact, turn this on. Auto loot if you can. Auto loot is a mastery later on in the game that I will show you how to unlock once we get to level 80, so probably in the next video or the video after this from now. And then NPC names, other stuff, squad health bars. This is where you can adjust your dynamic HUD. People always ask me how I go about changing my HUD. So for example, if I go on my mount, my bar will disappear. Everyone always wonders how that happens. The options are literally right here in dynamic HUD. So you can change it so that your menu bar will only show out of combat or always show or whatever have you. Then you can go down and adjust your camera settings. So these are my camera settings that I run with. I play like this for a sort of third-person Dark Souls style if I'm playing a warrior. Of course, you can still scroll out all the way to gain access to everything. You'll see that dot in the middle of my screen. I'll cover that in just a second. So these are all of the rest of my settings. And then down to combat here, I have ground targeting, fast with a range indicator. So that'll make it so that when you press a button, you'll get the circle area here. This will be on ground targeted AoE skills. It'll depend on the class you're using. So in this case with Guardian, I have multiple AoE skills, which I can just manually control and drop wherever I want. If I'm not playing with action camera locked, you can pick and choose with your mouse like so, where you want to drop the skills. So I would go for fast with range indicator. You can play with whatever setting you want on this. If you want to play with something different. Stop auto-attacking on target change, generally pretty good. Auto-targeting, also generally pretty decent. Lock ground target at maximum skill range. This is my personal favorite choice, especially when playing with action camera, because what you can do is you can fling your camera up to the ceiling, and it will cast it at maximum range. So you can immediately throw your spells as far as possible with very quick reaction time to get max range once you master the rangefinder. Takes a little bit, but if you're going to be playing enough, I would highly suggest it. Allow skill retargeting. Make sure you turn this on, because otherwise you're going to have a very, very bad time if you're playing any sort of range classes with action camera. And then these are the rest of the settings. We go down to graphics. These are the settings that I'm running. Feel free to go through and copy them. These are the most optimized for FPS that you can get, at least from my experience. I also force VSync through the NVIDIA control panel. If I'm speaking nerd to you, press this button. You won't notice the input delay anyway. And then just copy pretty much everything else. Motion blur, turn that dog shit off. Everything else. Certain things like bloom will really change how the game looks, so it really depends on the map. Like, literally, they make it so certain maps, if you have bloom off, it's a mess. Certain maps, if you have bloom on, you go blind. So be very careful about that. Sound settings, this is just what I run with that. And then control options, feel free to adjust these exactly however you want, but the one I would suggest changing is toggle action camera. Now, I would put this on a keybind that is very easily accessible. Mine's on my mouse to enable and disable, and that is going to give you the dot in the center of the screen. Now, there are going to be veterans in the comment section who say never press this button and never turn this on. They are objectively wrong, however, they are playing within their own game knowledge and their own muscle memory that they have built over the last 10 years. They're objectively wrong in the fact that of saying it is not effective. I am living proof. I have killed Canaxi on 2-100. I have done CMs. I have done raids. I have done platinum PvP all the way up playing action camera. If you can't use it all the way up, skill issue, right? Full stop. I will be the living proof that tells you you can use action camera for any piece of content in the game, and if anyone says otherwise, they're just gatekeeping you. Alright? So, action camera is the more fun way to play, in my opinion. You can play however you want. This is an entirely opinion-based series, and everything that I can tell you, and I'm going to tell you, can be completely discarded, and you can play your own entire way. Full stop. Guild Wars 2 is a sandbox-based game. Everything I tell you is a ground rule set of things you can do, none of which are set in stone. I am not God, as much as I would like to be, because I would change a couple things around here. But with that, you can play with action camera if you want to, or without it if you want to as well. I am going to be playing with action camera for the entirety of my game, as I always have been, and I will continue to do so, and if anyone wants to complain about it, sure, boost the algorithm, I guess, appreciate you. Okay, so, like I said, I would suggest turning action camera on, get used to it, a lot of fun, or don't play with it, is your choice, I don't particularly care. Okay, so, now, with that being said, let's actually kill some stuff, shall we? So, we're gonna pop our XP food and our rough sharpening stones, and now we're going to have 30 minutes worth of experience boosters, coupled with the 3 hours of experience boosters, coupled with the guild experience booster, coupled with the bloodlust sigil on my offhand sword. So now how do we level quickly? Very, very simple. We're going to find all of the mobs that nobody loves. So in this case, the level 2 golden moa. Watch my experience bar, you're about to cream. Oh, that one didn't have it. Fine. There we go, 983 bonus experience. There's 1,000 bonus experience. There's another 1,000 bonus experience. So, to explain what is happening right now, is all of these mobs haven't been touched. Like, they literally have not, they haven't felt the touch of a woman in years. No, these guys haven't been killed whatsoever. So, what winds up happening is mobs in Guild Wars 2 will accumulate something called bonus experience, which is what you see underneath the standard XP there, the bonus experience being 1160. So the longer a mob doesn't get killed, the more bonus experience it will acquire. Meaning that when someone finally comes along and kills it, you'll get a massive burst of experience to allow you to level exceptionally quickly. So now, if we combine this with all of our experience boosters, we can start to level at stupid rates by killing low-level quest mobs in low-level zones. What's even better is if you want to go really, really fast, you can rotate through all of the starting zones in very efficient manners, utilizing the raptor and the raptor attack to go very, very quickly. The raptor attack that everyone will have access to because they give you the raptor from level 10 for free now. The raptor attack will do a lot of damage and group things for you. So if you land right in the middle of this Moa pack, we can just go bink and then kill everything. And get a shit ton of experience that way. Now, this is my personal favorite way to level because you can do it entirely solo without any issue whatsoever. Nobody can get in the way, and nobody can stop you. You can pull as much as you want, and everything will pretty much melt because they're not that difficult of mobs. So, if you're playing with access to the entire game, you will also have access to all of the other starting waypoints from the other races. So this is the Sylvari start, this is Matrika province, this is the Azuran start, then there is the Norn start, which is unlocked a little bit because I did it myself. There's the Horncall waypoint, and then you'll see that I'm a Norn in Queensdale right now, which is proof I literally used the waypoint. Now, if you don't have the game, then what you can do is you can go into your primary town, for example, Divinity's Reach, and then there will be Azuran gates in the center here, literally in the middle, and those Azuran gates will take you to Lion's Arch over here. And then when you go in through one Azuran gate, it will take you out to the Lion's Arch Azuran gates, and they will allow you to teleport to the other zones. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I will just show you. We'll do it this way. So I will go to Holbrack, go to Wayfarer Foothills, Make sure to replay by Raid Shadow Legends. No, I'm not sponsored, but please, if you're watching, sponsor me. I can't be bought. And we're gonna go through here. Into Holbrack. I'm gonna remount. Make sure to use your mount movement ability. Mine's just on spacebar. And get used to it, because Raptor is one of the better mounts in the early game. It will be completely replaced by Warclaw, because they just made a better mount, full stop. And it's kind of crazy. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna go up this way. And right over here is going to be the portal to Lion's Arch. So this is what an Azurn Gate looks like, so you know what you're aiming for in all of the other areas. If we go in, we'll then get a nice little fancy cutscene for seeing Lion's Arch for the first time, which I'm going to skip, so I won't spoil it for you. You can watch it yourself if you're a new player. This cutscene has changed like 7 times over the years because they've reiterated what Lion's Arch even looks like, so I'll skip that. Oh, it actually spits you out here. Okay, well, even better. From here, we're going to go straight, and we're going to hang a left right into this little area over here. And from here, this will be the Azurn Gates.
Carry on.
And you can gain access to any of the areas. So if you hold Alt here, you can see the names as you get closer. There's all of the starting zones. And you can replicate the exact same process that I just showed you across all zones. Now you can actually do this even faster, so in this case I'm going to come down to the God-Lost Swamp here because this is one of the best places to farm experience using my current method. And I will explain how you can get even quicker with this. So, like I said, of course, we can kill our fireflies here, and we'll get 1100 XP. Now, what happens when you go through and you kill the entire zone? Right, you've killed all the bonus mobs, everything's dead. Now what? Right, oh no, I'm out of stuff to kill, my bonus experience is dried up, we're screwed. Well, first of all, like I said, you can switch maps and go through and do it that way, of going to Matrika Province and killing the Moas there, or going through to Holbrack and then killing the Moas in Holbrack, or not in Holbrack, in Wayfarer Foothills. Or you will eventually get an option on your side, on the side of your monitor, that will say, this map doesn't have enough people and will close in an hour. Would you like to switch maps? Now this will put you in a different version of the map that you're currently in, because the way Guild Wars 2 works is it has multiple versions of the same map. So if I go and I open this, let's see if I can find something here to showcase this. They're all gonna be on the same one. Is Octavine up? That would be the perfect showcase. Any meta events? Okay, so this, for example. See how it says 0.79? That means that they're on the map IP 0.79, which means that there is a different map that is a different IP, which means that each map will potentially have different mobs on them, or different progress and different completion levels. The reason that exists is because if there's too many people in one zone, it will create what's called an overflow map, which will then put all of the other people into it. Now, this winds up being a problem in some scenarios, because if you're trying to do an event and you get put on the overflow map, most of the time the overflow map fails. Generally, people will hop over from main map to the overflow map, or the overflow map will just fill passively, and you'll be able to go through things that way. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if you're on a map where you want to get to a different one, press O, go into looking for group, and go through like this. If you go to world bosses, there will be the shadow beast that spawns right in the middle of this swamp right here. And that is the world boss for this zone. There's a world boss in all 4 of the starting zones. This one, Wayfarer Foothills, Matrika Province, and Chalcedon Forest. So every single one you can use just by joining their team. And then if you right-click on them, I'll just show you here while I can. If you join and you right-click on somebody, we'll just join a random squad. Right-click, and then there will be a join in X zone option. I don't have it right now because they're in a different zone. But then that will switch the map over to their map. So if Shadow Beast is up, you can go and look for a team on a different map, and then right-click join over on that map instead. So I think I'll farm till level 60, and then I will explain another method of what you can do for leveling, or go through all of the other leveling methods, and then I will cut it here, and I will go and get myself up to level 80, and we will begin on arguably endgame content. Now, I know what you're gonna say, by the way, is that you're just killing fireflies, this is fucking boring. Agreed. Genuinely agreed. So, if you're starting out for the very, very, very first time just playing Guild Wars 2, I suggest you don't do this method that I'm doing right now. I suggest you go through and you play the entirety of the game. Hit level 10, go through, do your main story, actually learn the game, have fun with it, and just work your way through. Do the hearts, explore, experiment, have a good time. There is nobody rushing you in Guild Wars 2. Absolutely no one. There is no reason to get the endgame content quickly. Everything will still be there. It's not gonna go away. The only things that you might have FOMO problems on are gem store items that I want. But I covered that in a different video on the channel, so absolutely, if you are just starting out for the first time, take your time. Don't particularly do this process, just enjoy yourself. But I did want to lead with this because a lot of people are sick and tired of being sick and tired and then always just want the fastest leveling methods. So this is the one that I use to go the absolute quickest. Like I said, sometimes it's not going to be the ultra fastest because certain mobs will be killed already or whatever have you. But sometimes you get nice XP bursts like that. And you just level ultra fast sometimes. So yeah, as I've been going through, I think I've done a level and some change already. Work on the heart at the same time. If you can stack a heart while doing... the hearts are basically quests. If you can stack a heart while doing the neutral mob kill method, then you can really start to gain some serious experience exceptionally fast. So let me go and find one more portal around here if I can. It should finish off the heart. Make sure to grab as many of the fireflies as I can. And of course, you don't have to use this zone in particular. You can do this in any of the other ones, any particular area you like. Just any of the yellow mobs will work for the strategy we're doing. Because like I said, most people don't kill these things. I mean, our guy is literally trying to kill them right now, which is a perfect counterpoint. I love that. But, you know what I mean. The more that my strategy gets exposed, the more people will do this, and the less bonus experience there will be. But these will always pretty much exist, because like I said, there will always be overflow maps. And when you flip over to an overflow map, or to the next map, then you'll have mobs that people haven't killed on those maps as well. So this strategy pretty much works and is unfixable, or unchangeable, unless they patched out bonus experience, of which they're not going to do. Because there's just really no point, and it would be very tragic if they went about doing that, not gonna lie. It would definitely suck. So, just try and cleave things down as much as possible, and I will go through the rest of the level, and then I'll cover a few more leveling strats. And I think I will leave it off there. I think that's a pretty good episode 1. I covered the settings, covered action camera, covered how to get set up, covered good leveling strategies and good techniques. Hero points, there are a couple other things you might wonder about. So on the map there are hero points here that you'll find. Don't particularly worry about them too much. Like, do them if you come across them. They're spectacular, but you will get more than enough hero points throughout the game, to the point that I think right now, if you have every hero point in the game, you are overcapped by 400 points. So they make it so that when you hit level 80, you have enough to fully unlock all of the skills and all of the specializations. Then you have to go in and do the elite specializations manually. Elite specializations are from the expansions, so if you're a free-to-play player, you won't have access to them. But if you do have access to them, the expansion content that you go and do, the hero points in those zones will give you 10 hero points apiece. So it's a lot quicker to just go through and get those. I have a specific strategy that I will... Actually, I can show it to you for the video, I suppose. Why not? I won't do it in this one, but once I hit level 80, I'll add that as part of the video. Because I didn't think about that, but I suppose I could literally use every tip I've ever come across and put it all in the same video, or in the same series, and just combine it all into one, and just be able to direct people here instead. So, yeah, there is a specific strategy that I utilize to gain access to certain things, because most of the elite specs literally only require 40 points to get up and running. Oh, I'll cover that. I'll cover combo fields. Like, for example, Dragon Hunter. If you want to access a longbow on Guardian, which is my favorite weapon, then you literally just need 30 points. You get the first point in longbow, and then you put Dragon Hunter in your bottom spot here. Oh, I can explain that too. I guess I'm just gonna keep fucking talking as time goes on here. So, as you kill things, as you level up, you'll gain access to a bunch of different skills. As you can see, I've made a basic build here out of all of the said hero points that you can acquire. Now, I know what I'm picking, and I know why I want them. My goal is to get as much AoE damage and, like, ranged pulls as possible. So, like, in this case, with the Spirit Sword, it will pull everything, murk it all, and give me a shit ton of experience. I have that as a planned strategy because of what I'm doing right here, with trying to kill as many things as possible. But for the rest of you who don't know what they want to aim for, feel free to just go through and experiment with these, because like I said, you will get enough hero points that you can fill out everything. As you level up more, you'll then gain access to a build here. This gives you traits, and these are the cornerstone of pretty much any build in Guild Wars 2. You combine your traits with your weapon, with your slot skills, with your elite spec, and then you combine that with relics and runes and sigils in the armor and weapons, and you have a build. There's a lot of tools, I know, but I'll cover them as I get to level 80 and go through it in a more fundamental process. But what I would suggest doing is have a look through very easily. So go into the slot skills and try and find ones that sound interesting to you. This will show you everything that you can use, even the elite spells and the elite spec stuff. So there's Dragon's Maw, that is the elite for Dragon Hunter. Heaven's Palm is the elite for, what is it for one of the other specs? Willbender. So go through, find things that look interesting to you. Go into training, figure out where to get them. So in this case, if you want Signan, so the spirit weapon I'm using is right here. And then you can go into traits, and the trait lines here will go across, generally. So if you go straight down here, you'll see Fiery Wrath, middle, Zealous Blade, middle, Shattered Ages, middle. And so this one will be the bottom line. So top line, middle line, bottom line, right? That's how these are set up, and then the 3 passives going all the way through. So that would be the middle line of Radiance, that would be the top line of Radiance, that would be the bottom line of Radiance. It took me 3,000 hours to realize that. You're welcome. Yeah, so go through, read them, figure out which ones you want to combine with whatever weapon and setup you're running. Don't feel too bad about it. You can literally just go through and meta tweak a build, or look at one of the builds I have on the channel, or whatever have you. Guild Wars 2 is a game where you can fundamentally run anything. You generally won't get laughed at or kicked for your build unless you're running high tier content, at which point you should do at least some level of mild research, unless you're me and go in blind playing meme shit anyways. But I have thousands of hours of experience, so I already know the fights and mechanics and all the other sort of stuff, to which I will try and teach you eventually way down the line. But as you're starting out here, literally pick whatever you want, experiment with whatever you want, play fucking condition damage greatsword for the hell of it, I don't really care. Go through, make dumb shit, just get a feel for the game, get a feel for the build system, and experiment with things while you have the opportunity to. Guild Wars 2 is a very free-form game when it comes to builds, and there's a lot of stuff that is still undiscovered to this day. Because one of my favorite things about games like this, with a lot of build options, is that people can define a meta, build a whole bunch of things, and then there is still a hidden build option hiding that nobody knows because there isn't someone crazy enough to make it. So, be the guy crazy enough to make the stupid shit, and sometimes you will hit gold. Okay, so, a couple of things I want to cover before I end this off is other ways to level quickly. So, you'll see that I am level 60 now, so I'm 20 levels away from 80. So how would I go about getting that? I can do 12 levels in about 20 minutes if I really wanted to. I'm going to save myself the gold, however. But generally, there's a few things you can use. These Tomes of Knowledge right here are what most people are going to be using, and the thing you're going to be hearing people spamming over and over and over and over and over again. Because these just give you an instant level. There's also, when you play long enough and have a character for a year or 2 years or what have you, you'll get experience scrolls, which will immediately put you to a certain level. I used one to get myself to level 40. There are ones that go up to 50, 60, etc. I had used most of those, so I didn't have access to any of them. But Tomes of Knowledge will come from endgame PvE activities. They will also come from PvP and PvP reward tracks. So going through and doing one of the reward tracks, like so, will give you... will give you Tomes of Knowledge as a result, just so you can level. PvP is also scaled, so when you go into PvP, you will have to create a build, and like I said, you will probably get smoked. So if you're going into PvP, I would suggest you look at MetaBattle, which is the website that will give you relatively decent builds, and play one of those that sound interesting. Copy-paste it, and you'll probably still get murked, but we still have a somewhat fighting chance. World versus World will be probably the better option, my suggested option, because SPVP is equivalent to sticking your cock in a vice and twisting, in my opinion, and I have Ascension, so I can literally say that from experience. Whereas if we go into World vs. World, you can find a commander, which you'll see on the minimap right here. You see this icon here. If you click that, you'll have Join Squad, and that will immediately put you into the team that is running around the map. So, if you want to PvP, you can go into World vs. World from level 1 as a level 1 character, join on a commander, and follow them around the entire map. They will then go through and do a bunch of things. Maybe they die, maybe they don't, who knows, maybe you get a good commander, maybe you don't. And then the things they do will give you the Secrets of the Obscure reward track, or Ascalonian Catacombs reward track, or any of these. Pick whichever one sounds appealing to you. I would suggest doing the Draconis Mons one, because you get the shoulders that I always wanted way back in the day. But you kind of have to do a couple things to unlock this. So just do the Gift of Battle reward track, because you'll thank me later. Like, genuinely. Do this one if you're going to PvP, because you'll need this eventually if you're going to make any kind of legendaries. And, yeah, within that, you will then get Tomes of Knowledge. You can convert other currencies into Tomes of Knowledge as well, which I could probably go and do, but it's whatever. This is like the last character I'm going to level, because when I buy the XP thing, when I buy the Ultimate Edition, I'm just going to use the level 80 boost on the last character that I need and have all 9. So, you need 9 character slots to have one of each class. So then, because there's 9 classes in the game, and you can play every elite spec on every class and intermingle stuff. Because if you look in here on your equipment panel, you'll have 2 different panels for gear. So what you can do here is you can set them up to different keybinds. So if you do F2 in my case, it'll do gear set 2. F1 will do gear set 1. And then I also have it set, so if we go into builds here, there is different build templates that you can do. So if you align your gear set 2 with build set 2, then you can keybind flip with F1, shift F1, and now all of a sudden you're playing build 1. F2, shift F2, and you're playing build 2. Yeah, it's really nice. You can literally do that in PvP, by the way. You can't do it in SPvP, but if you're in World vs. World, you could literally drop a duel, like run away from someone, F2, shift F2, and then now you're playing like a turbo tank build. F1, shift F1, now you're playing Ultra Berserker build. It's cancer, but it's genuinely hilarious if you can pull it off. Now, the last thing that I'll show you for leveling effectively is going to be crafting. Now, this you're not going to have access to generally as a free-to-play player. You could probably get a few levels out of it, but I'm not going to be able to show it on this. But what there what you can do is crafting will actually give you raw experience across the board here. So if there's a crafting discipline you particularly want, like I would suggest if you're going to fish, chef is a really good one because it gives you access to upscaling the fish and you can make more gold from it that way. Tailoring if you're a caster, so you can make your light armor and or legendary light armor. Leatherworking if you're a medium class. Jeweling if you want to make crazy gold. Maybe I'll cover my secret jeweling method of how I make shit tons of gold eventually, but I'm keeping it until I'm rich. Huntsman if you want to make bows. Artificing station if you're a caster for staves and scepters. And there's a couple others. Armorsmith for heavy armor. Weaponsmithing for weapons. So it's simple enough. It kind of explains itself. And I think that's it. There's one more, which is the handiwork station, which is way down the line. And the reason I cover this is because, like I said, you will get experience from manually crafting things. So there are websites that you can go to that will give you a full breakdown of what to build and how to max out these professions as fast as possible and as cheaply as possible. I'm pretty sure that chef and jewel crafting are the two cheapest ones, but they fluctuate based on materials and what have you. So you will have to go through on the trading post, and this will be more for the casual players that have access to it, to go through on the trading post, purchase all of the items that you need, and then go and turn all of that into experience to get your crafting up to 400 or 500 or what have you, and you can get 12 levels of experience out of each of the crafting disciplines. So if I wanted to go to 80, I could literally craft my way there right now. I'm not joking. I'm going to go level the rest of the way because I cannot be asked. I have crafting disciplines on all my other characters that I need for everything else that I want to do. And if I need to do anything else, I'll just do it at the time of relevance. But I just wanted to cover that, just in case you wanted to bypass the entire process and you had the gold to do so. So yeah, that is going to round us off for episode 1. I think I covered as much as I could feasibly fit into the leveling video. Like I said, go through, and if you're a completely new player, just play the story. Just slowly explore the maps, just have fun, craft whatever stuff is relevant to your class, and don't worry too much about putting your skill points in the right place, because by level 80, you'll have access to everything. And now I'm going to fast forward to level 80 in the next video, and I'm going to teach you how to get gear. Alright, see you then.